I didn't want to say basically you drew a vagina and everybody's going to think it's one. But she was adamant to have this done, and she was like, I said, so what do you like about it so much? And she said,
Good sound check. To be fair, there's no real intro to this other than really, thanks for being here, really.
oh, no problem.
I mean, to be
Thank
fair,
you for having me.
yeah, we definitely wanted to have you on here at some point because we've known you for quite a long time now.
Yeah, it's been a while. I had actually not long ago the Ghost anniversary when I was with Birmingham. Innit?
Really? At Tokyo?
Yeah. It's come up the little video when I was with the Ghost.
Yeah, that was like, that's got to be like 3 years ago or something now, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that.
I think it might be more.
Because I think that was like, when I first started at Star, the first proper thing me and Luke went out and did was visit you.
Yeah.
Like, before any convention, we went and visited you for the first thing I actually did out and about. So that was like quite a nice, cool, and then got tattooed by you at Freeze.
Yeah.
That was quite a nice, cool moment, that was.
Yeah, man, it's good. I think it's gonna be getting on 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
Can't remember, but yeah, I was at Tokyo still, so.
You still got the ghost flag?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's everywhere with me.
Oh, that's good.
Well, now
then.
I've got banner as well now, and so I take the banner with me now.
Yeah, that's good then.
But I've got the little ones as well. So sometimes put them on the table if we've got room. It just depends on the show, doesn't it? But that's the good thing that COVID did. The booths seem to be getting a little bit bigger.
You got more space now.
Yeah. You can put everything up, and it's actually quite good space-wise, isn't it?
You got something to say?
Always.
How many shows has she been to now? She's been to a couple with you.
3.
Yeah.
She's been to Manchester Tea Party. She's been to Newcastle. She's been to Liverpool.
She's probably travelled way more than half the tattooists out in the world at the moment.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah. She does enjoy it because she loves tattoos. She's looking at my arms, so like if I'm in the shorts, she'd look at my legs and she's like,
Well, yeah, there's a lot of, you got quite a bit of like colour tattoo stuff, so obviously she's going to look at that and think, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, she loves colour as well, so when we were at the show, she was just like this. Loving every moment of it.
Do you sometimes have to put like earmuffs on her because the music in those shows are loud, aren't they?
Yeah, I've got noise cancelling headphones for her.
Yeah, that's good.
But she doesn't seem to be bothered overly by the noise because obviously working at my fella's garage,
it's
like impact guns and that going, and she seemed to be sleeping through most of it.
I think some of the cutest things you post is when there's a picture of Winter and Bertie together.
Yeah.
He is like a little guard dog, isn't he, for her?
He is the best big brother ever, you wouldn't believe. He's just so soft with her. This thing she does is she just puts her hand in his ear and grabs it, but he likes it because she kind of he likes his ears being picked.
Oh, the inside of the ear is how you get to a dog, isn't it?
Yeah, so he's just standing there like this, waiting.
Yeah.
And he just follows her everywhere. She can do anything to him, pulling him, massaging him, because she explores textures as well now this age.
Yeah.
So when she starts stroking him, he's just because it's a nice little scratch. But he also follows her everywhere.
What was it like at the very start? Was you a bit kind of nervous? Because I remember when my mate brought his baby back, and he had like a gate in between, and I was there just sort of looking over, and it was a little bit like, don't know how the dog's going to react.
Yeah, no, we sort of brought him back from hospital in a chair.
Yeah.
And literally let him sniff her. But we had to sort of hold him back a little bit just because his head is bigger than mine.
Yeah.
And it's just a school. So if he tried to sniff her too hard, he could break her technically.
Yeah, because they don't quite get the concept. They probably think, oh, delicate, but they don't know how strong they are, sort of thing.
Well, he opens the doors and that, if the door's locked, he's just going to use his head to bash it open.
Yeah.
And it opens the locks. It breaks the locks and it breaks the door as well. He popped his head once through a cat flap. And he just ripped it out of the door and then just was running around with this cat flap around his neck. So he doesn't know his own strength. So we had to watch him at first, obviously. But he's that good with her now. He'll come up to her, sniff her, and then sit next to her.
Yeah.
Never ever try to lie on her. He'll lie a little bit away.
Yeah.
And then she can, do anything to him. He's just such a good big brother to her.
Yeah, that's good, that is. How's, being a parent now changed for you as an artist? Obviously you're doing less hours and stuff, but mentally, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely more challenging for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot more going on. and you've got your hands full with the baby, and you still try to stay creative. That's another thing.
Baby in one hand, tattoo machine in the other.
Pretty much, pretty much. She's been to the shop a few times as well, loving it.
Yeah.
It's different. It's more difficult, even though I do less hours. I only work 2.5 days on the average. 2 days definitely every week. Sometimes 2.5, 3 days. But it is more challenging. Like I said, just the design work. I can't do nothing if I've got on my arms, because she's learned already how to use the tablet. So I can't do any of that when I've got her. So if she has an app,
hey, you could do a collab together on a tablet.
Yeah, that's it. We've done that as well. I've said it to the customer. I just said apologies for the extra bits. They won't be on your tattoo. just forget about that.
You putting your own little swing on Mommy's tattoos, hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She chooses good colour palette as well. So
that's good then.
That's all brilliant.
She's going to love growing up with you around, because I mean, I don't know about your partner, but like you do a lot of painting and stuff, don't you?
Yeah. I still try to do a little bit. I've not done that much since we've had it, just because it was so really busy period. Yeah. But now she's a little bit bigger. I'm getting back into it. She does put her hands into everything. So it is more challenging, but still possible. So it'd be quite cool, I think.
Like when was the last time you did like a? Because you painted like quite a few like you did a violin as well or something.
Yeah, I did a violin with the skull on it, and I've done a few skateboards.
Yeah, we've got one of your boards here.
Yeah, the pretty cool one.
Yeah.
Then I've done a few the hand saws themselves, the really old-fashioned one with the wooden handle. I've got actually 3 on the go. Yeah. And a couple of skateboards as well, so I just do a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Been a bit busy because I'm doing, we're just having our bathroom finished as well, and kitchen downstairs, and I wanted it really funky. So I've been painting like old-fashioned filigree on it.
You were just saying about like the not difficulty, but like the change that you've sort of gone through as being a parent now. Do you sort of think that's the same for everybody, or is it just how you're thinking at the moment? Like obviously it's going to be difficult having a child regardless of what you do for an occupation, but
yeah, I think personally as a person I just sort of deal with things normally. So now having a lot more on my plate, I just sort of deal with it. I just try not to sit down and overthink things, just get on with it. And it's the same with work, and it's like everybody said to me, a lot of people said to me like, oh wait, when you have a child you won't be able to do this, you won't be able to do that. Yeah. I just pack her and take her with me, and it's the same with the tattoo shows, conventions. Yeah. Anything in daily life, just pack her. Take the dog as well if I can, you know what I mean?
I'm surprised Bertie didn't come with you, to be
fair. He's been asleep most of the day, to be honest. He's an old man nowadays.
Fair enough. If you come here for a second time, that's going to be a request. You're going to have to bring him here.
I'll bring Bertie, but
we'll get a nice space ready for him.
Yeah, I think he could cause some, he just could knock things over, but yeah, that's normal Bertie for you. Yeah. He just, as he goes, he just rams everything off his way. Yeah. That's how he is. But he's a good lad.
That's good then. So what's your next convention coming up? Have you got anything lined up other than Big London this year?
Yeah, we're gonna be going. We've got 3 more so far this year, and I'm just sort of trying to pipe it down a little bit, just because it's tiring as well.
Yeah, you've smashed the conventions this year.
Yeah.
Considering like you've probably been to like what 4 or 5 this year.
Right. So I've been to Freeze.
Yeah. I've
been to Newcastle. I've been to Manchester, Liverpool. And I think maybe one more. So I've done 4. Yeah. Definitely.
You've done 4. You got London coming up. Halloween bash.
I'm not sure about it yet, because I think I perhaps missed the line. But I usually sign up to this one last minute because it's only down the road.
I was going to say you're 5 minutes away, really.
Yeah. So I was going to sign up to it, but because I've been on maternity as well for so long, obviously I didn't have any wage sort of coming in. So I couldn't afford to sign up for all of them, so it was just sort of case of wait and see what I can afford for the rest of the year. I've signed up for Wrexham, that's November, and I've got Liverpool, signed up for Liverpool in October as well, and hopefully I can do Bash within it as well if somebody drops out or something. Yeah. That'd be good fun. For next year, signing up for Freeze again. Definitely gonna do Teapot in Newcastle. London again. Them are the shows that are quite good, and then with the rest we'll see.
You gonna go with Craig as well, or?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, we've got a few shows that we like to do as a shop, and then obviously the rest depends. It's sort of how far and how often can you travel. Craig's got family as well. Yeah. Wife and a couple of kids, so it depends how we all can set it all up. The other guys have Robin just bought a house as well, so she's trying to sort of keep it a little bit the costs down.
Keeping things balanced.
Yeah, you have to remember there is other outgoings all the time, and it's not easy business doing the shows, unfortunately.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not even financial, it's also mental. Like, you got to go through it all, and you got to travel, set up the client, you got to rely on them, make sure that's nailed that as well. Like, there's a lot of things to consider, isn't there, really?
Yeah, it's a lot that comes into it. Just for example, Newcastle, when we did Newcastle, that was 200-mile drive for me. And I only had a little car because I've sold my old car before I wasn't travelling. Yeah. So I only had like a little run around, and I was going to rent a car to go to the shows. That was my plan. And what COVID did, the rental of the cars at the moment is like through the roof. They're really, really expensive. Yeah. So I just went in my old little Honda Jazz to Newcastle. It was a 200-mile trip there. I didn't know if it will take me there or not, but it did. And then packing up, with a little baby and my mum, I drove there Friday night after work, so I had a day sitting.
So you did a whole day's work and then you drove?
Yeah. So I got there just before 12 at night. I was working, I think, about 8 hours, finishing a sleeve as well, and then packing all the stuff from the studio. Meanwhile, remembering to take everything, then packing a baby, packing me, making sure my mum's got everything as well. Yeah. Off we went. We got a little bit lost on the way, took one wrong turn. That extended our trip by further 20 minutes. I was like, are we even going to get checked in a hotel that late? But we got there just after 12 at night. First thing, 7 in the morning, wake up call. Straight at it. Me and Craig, we were doing two days collaborations. So basically we've had 2 customers that we kept swapping over the 2 days. So we've set up the same stations. We use more or less same setup of needles. Cartridges we were using different because we're both using different brands. Yeah. But inks, more or less, pretty much same palettes. Yeah. Different brands a little bit as well, but we don't mind swapping over a little bit. Machines we use exactly the same. That wasn't a problem. Yeah. So we just had 2 stations set up, and we just kept moving in between them over 2 days, and it was really cool experience. But yeah, it's been quite a good experience because this way we were in each other's way, which normally with collaboration. Obviously you've got 2 people working. If it's a small piece, it can be quite difficult because you have to remember that you pull skin one way and the other artist will be pulling skin the other way.
You mentioned this when you and Ryan were tattooing me at Freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, you spoke. It's interesting because you don't really consider it until someone is actually explaining how that works, because like your skin can only move a certain way, and if you got 2 people pulling either side, that's like, how does it, like the cells are going to be a bit like, oh, we're a bit stretched now.
Yeah, it's weird, but sometimes if it's quite close, if you work quite close to each other, obviously it can affect other people's work. If you think about it, if you've got needles stuck in a skin and somebody pulls it on the other side and that skin moves, it can go really wrong. Yeah. So there's a lot of things to consider. So that's why me and Craig decided to sort of keep swapping. Yeah. So basically we were working throughout the day, done whatever we needed to do. We divided work in between each other. And that was quite good, and it was pretty swift process all the way around, to be honest, all weekend. And then the tattoos, the skin didn't seem overly tired neither, even though it was worked on for 2 days. Both pieces were more or less A3 size, if you like. And the skin took it really well on both customers, so that was actually quite a good idea to do. And loads of artists approached us and said, never seen anything like it, but this is a really good idea to approach collaboration this way, because you get obviously 2 tattoos done, decent size, and nobody's in each other's way. Because sometimes, if you think about it as well, if you work next to each other, it can slow you down a lot. Which if you've got free flow, you just fly through it. So that's
like if you want to go to that side to get a better angle or a better lighting or something, you don't have to worry about the other person being there and stuff, do you? So
that's it. It was actually a really good experience. We're definitely gonna do it again at some point. I think this year, sort of, I'm sort of last minute on the shows at the moment, so like. Craig's already sort of booked up with the customers and that on them. Yeah. I've just sorted a customer out for London, and I think a couple of pieces for Liverpool. I won't be doing anything as large at Liverpool. I'm doing quite a big piece at London, and then Wrexham. We'll see. But next year definitely we're gonna try to do some collabs again. Yeah. And then double collaborations over 2 days again.
You're definitely like collab buddies now, aren't you? You've done quite a few. I remember you put out on Facebook saying doing a collab with Craig for the first time should be fun, and that was, now you've done like quite a few together, haven't you?
Yeah, we've done And it's actually, we just work quite well with each other, and we can cover different areas of tattooing. I think we enjoy different things, which I think works well, because as a tattoo will be sort of semi-stylized, realistic, we both can cover different fields of it, and I think that way the tattoo can be a lot better than if one of us done it themselves 100%, because it gets the best of two of us, and it goes into one work, one piece, which is pretty cool.
Seeing you guys do was it the Space Jam one?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
It was Michael Jordan with the monsters.
Yeah.
And then we did a little bit of a naughty piece, bondage leg sleep going on, my friend. So yeah, it was really enjoyable. We've had loads of good comments about it as well.
But it's the amount of colour you pack in that short time as well.
Yeah, I quite enjoy my colour, and I do pack it solid and quick. I guess a lot of people say to me that...
you honestly, like, compared to some people at a show, it's not like a race or anything, but when you see like a good quality piece and you see it every now and again, like every half hour to an hour, you walk around and you see what you're doing, you're like, you put in the colour really well, but also really quick. And some people can spend like a lot longer just putting in a small amount of colour and just like packing those small little bits in, but you absolutely... Like, I remember when you and Ryan finished your bits and Ryan said, right, I'm done now, and I thought we were done. And then you were like, no, I'm going to do the blue now. And you remember the little blue bits around the outside of the skull? You nailed that in like 20 minutes or half an hour or something.
Yeah, I'm basically every single show I've worked this year, I technically was accused that the piece wasn't done there.
Yeah.
But luckily my customers took the pictures of the stencils in the morning, so they can prove it to people judging that it was actually done there and then.
Yeah.
Because for example, even in Manchester, I've done like pretty much A3, a stag with colourful background, and the judges were like, "Oh, that was it done in a day?" And the guy said, "Yeah, it was done in like 7 hours." And people were like, "Well, no way." But yeah, I just sort of don't seem to mess around, and when I put my head down, I think I just like to work until it's done, because I think the more personally, with experiences and healing process, because that's quite important thing to me, I find if you work a lot in one space with the very small needles, it can affect the healing and the skin gets very tired, so I'd rather hit it hard and quick than keep on messing around in the same area, because that can go two different ways later on, which obviously the way I work, I've been quite successful with healing over the period of long time at the moment.
How do you sort of, like, if you was to look back at what you were doing in tattooing and your style and speed and all that kind of stuff, like 3 years ago, what would you sort of say that you've sort of like improved upon? Like, without even realising it, what do you think you've suddenly gotten a lot better at doing?
I think the design work itself, I try not to stick... Before, what it was, like if we go back about 3 years, I was pushing a lot of my stylized work, which at the moment I sort of allow myself to go a little bit more painty way, abstracty, and sort of allow a little bit more magic to happen on a day as well. Which is like I put a design semi-ready at beforehand, and then as we go along, I will change things here and there. So I sort of trust myself a little bit more, and I ask people to trust me as well, because I don't stick 100% to the design I do, because I don't see a point in it to spend like hours and hours in a design.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend a further 20 hours to execute exactly the same little stroke or something on the tattoo. I just go with the flow and I just see what looks better. Yeah, definitely sort of allow myself more artistic creativity, even though my designs I think before were sort of well thought about, because I did think about contrast and color wheel and everything else to work with. It should have a good composition and balance of color, and that at the moment I sort of do it, but I allow myself to change things as well, which is I think good for you as an artist, because you constantly keep on growing. What
do you change, like the color palette, or just depending on how you feeling during halfway through it or something?
Yeah, definitely. There was a time when I sort of tried to stick with the colour palettes that I've had set for a while, which is obviously I enjoy working with blues and oranges and colours similar to it.
Yeah.
Which now I will allow myself a flows of purple and greens in that. Saying that, I've done fully green and purple on you.
Yeah, but, and then Ryan took the orange red side of things.
Yeah. So I allow myself definitely more colour into it. Even though I thought sometimes when I look back in the past, I think it can be quite chaotic if you put too much colour because there's just too much going on. But I find it works, especially like the piece I did Manchester Tea Party, when I did like a sort of realistic watercolour painting, which is not a stylized piece at all technically.
Yeah.
Because it didn't have any of my usual things that you recognise from my work. And even one of the judges came up to me afterwards and he said, I wouldn't even say that was your tattoo because it's got none of the pointers that you'd normally see in your work. And I said, you know what, I really enjoyed it because I think with me and how many shows I've done and how many awards I've won in the past, I feel like a lot of people, like when I go to the show, they put pressure on me before I even go there, that I have to do this stylized piece and it has to be really good and it has to win something. And it's not the point for me no more. It was good for me to get in awards at that when I started to promote the style, to get my name out there. At the moment I just want to go and enjoy what I'm doing. And I think with stylized pieces as well, I sort of started to fall in a little bit of a limbo with it when I was doing the stylized pieces with a bit of cartoon and colour and that. I just felt like I was doing the same thing, just with a couple of different subjects. So it was like a ready frame, and that started to get a little bit boring for me. So again, now I'm exploring going into mix of other styles. I still enjoy doing bits of cartoon. I don't want to be stuck within like a ready frame for the design. I want to explore more and keep on going forward. Really, I think that's what most important. You can grow as an artist if you keep experimenting.
Yeah. How you sort of mentioned then about awards. You obviously you've got your fair share. Like you've done well, and obviously like yourself and Craig have kind of like shared a few as well for like runner-ups and first places and such. But where do you sort of like, for you personally, not like everybody or generally, but like you personally, where do you sort of stand on awards now? Do you focus on them or do you just take them if they come? Or
I never expect anything, to be honest. I'm just quite happy. If I go to a show and if I can get an award, that's brilliant. But I don't expect to go to a show and win every time.
Yeah.
Because the UK scene is really coming strong and the level is getting higher and higher, and it's really good to see actually.
Yeah.
There are a lot of younger artists, they put in work and they put in loads of work, and the level just this year when I've been to the shows, even smaller shows, you wouldn't see that level a couple of years ago, you know. It seems like over COVID there was a surge in good artists and everybody seemed to be pushing and concentrating, and it's really cool to see. So like personally, like I say, I'm just happy to go, meet my friends, do a cool job and go home.
I wanted to ask, carrying on with the conversation in terms of like some of the previous work you did, I remember when we went and visited you in Tokyo, you had a bit of a funny story about a tattoo. Do you know which one I'm on about?
The vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tattoo vagina, still the most famous.
For this audience though, can you sort of explain the story again?
Yeah. It was back from when I used to work one of the high street shops, and I had this girl come in and she drew the tattoo herself. I mean, she's probably gonna come across it at some point and she's gonna listen. I don't know if she's gonna know if it was her or not, but maybe. And she brought this design and she drew it, and the manager of the shop, she brought it in her back and she was like, oh, I don't think we can really tattoo it for her. It looks like a vagina. I said, yeah, it does. And it was just basically this little sort of tribal-y thing, but it did look like female bits. And I mean, 4 of us in the shop, we agreed straight away. So I tried to put it off it, because it was going to be in quite a visible place on the top of her wrist.
When you sound like, is that like on the top or the underneath?
Yeah, on the top, yeah.
On the top?
Yeah.
Always on show?
Yeah, strong black lines, sort of tribal-y type of thing. And I didn't want to say basically you drew a vagina and everybody's going to think it's one. But she was adamant to have this done, and she was like, I said, so what do you like about it so much? And she said, I like the way it flows. And that was it. I just said, yeah, right, let's sit down, let's do it. Let's get it done and over with. We'll laugh about it at some point in the future. And yeah, it's still the same.
A couple of years later, I'm asking you to tell the story again.
Yeah.
That was funny, that was.
It was just, I just couldn't, she just didn't see it. And I don't know if she didn't want to see it or if she really couldn't see it to this day. But she's had it done and she was a very happy customer. But yeah, I mean, just one look at it and you'd know. There is no
had that
doubt
kind of
about
like
it.
that shape.
Yeah, it was just like this flow like this with this little dot in the middle. Oh no!
Did you sort of crack up laughing when she said she likes the way it flows?
Yeah, I did. I was just actually, I just put a smile on because I just didn't know what to reply to that. You know,
It kind of sounds like she says that on purpose.
I don't know. I think she kind of believed in her artistic skills, which
Yeah.
I don't know. We shouldn't like. There is things people like and there is things people like and like.
Yeah.
So you don't really discuss about the flavors, but you shouldn't discuss people's flavors. But yeah, that was quite an obvious one. I mean, just the fact the four of us in the back of a shop agreed on the same thing and everybody's seen the same thing in it.
Yeah.
It just got done in the end, and I don't know. It's been years since I've done it. It was probably about 9 years ago when I tattooed it. So I wonder.
If it's still there.
If it's still there, because I'm 100% sure whenever she went after that, everybody would be like,
cool vagina tattoo.
Why do you have a vagina tattooed on your arm? There is no doubt about it. People would say it because everybody's seen the same thing in it except her. So
yeah,
I hope it's still there. It's got a cool story to it.
At the end of the day, like as you said, if she likes it and she's left the studio going, yeah, I can't believe I've got this. This is so cool. Like, fair enough.
I like the way it flows. So
yeah.
you can't really argue with that anymore, can you?
Sounded like it flowed quite well.
Wow, guess it. Yeah, I hope so. I wonder if it's still flowing.
It's still flowing. Maybe she's extended it a bit.
Yeah, maybe just.
Maybe it's gone all the way up her arm or something.
Maybe progressed to something else. I don't know.
Maybe for like an ass crack tattoo next or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it might be quite rude what it progressed to. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I would rather not think. But yeah, I couldn't talk her out of it. A million years. I've tried to approach the subject so many different ways. Just without saying, basically, you want me to tattoo a vag on your wrist, but I was quite young into quite new into industry, and I was really polite.
Yeah.
Now I would say, why would you want vagina on your arm? Are you stupid or what?
How does it work now? So if someone, I mean, you don't really take jobs on now when someone just walks into a studio. But I suppose it's very kind of like messaging and emailing. And
yeah. We very rarely deal with
like walk-ins.
Customers eye to eye. I often see customers for the first time when they come for their appointment.
Yeah.
It's all more or less done online. Only sometimes if I've got somebody fairly local and it's a cover up, I'll ask him to come in. But most of the time I'll just. You want to say a few words? More or less, I'll do the consultations online and we agree on things. I usually send the design to customers night before. I don't like to give people too much time to think about the design because I think from past experiences, they like to send it to their brother, sister, uncle and a cousin of a cousin. And then a friend of a friend or somebody that they met on a holiday 10 years ago, don't even talk to, but they will ask everybody else on their opinion. And I think the person that is getting tattooed, if they have a short time to decide, they know they like it or don't.
Yeah.
But if they have a lot of time to share their design with a lot of other people, they will put doubts in their head. So they actually start doubting themselves whether they like it or not, even though in the first place they wouldn't. So I send designs usually late, so they can't reach too many people. They can decide for themselves. So that is done on purpose. I could send the designs early day before, but I don't for that reason, because they can reach or just post it on Facebook and say, oh, that's what I'm getting tomorrow, what everybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks, it's what you think because you're getting it done. Is there any
designs or ideas or anything of that nature that you immediately just say no to straight away?
Tribal work, I won't do it.
Why? Because it's boring or?
It's just boring.
Yeah.
It's just boring and people will regret it. It's nothing to it. It's just no. I mean, Maori work, it's completely different story. It can be quite beautiful if it's done right. It's not for me. I won't do it neither. But if I can recommend somebody that can, I'll sort of recommend somebody. There was a guy I've met once working in Germany, and he was a Brazilian artist and really good at it. Always free-handed the work. He was super busy, but his work was beautiful. It had a really nice flow to it, composition, and that even though it was just black work, it was really nice in itself. And if it's done right, it's really lovely.
Yeah.
It's just not for me, so I won't do it. I get bored with just using some sort of just the line work. I don't enjoy overly doing line work myself, neither.
Yeah.
I like my shading, I like my blending, I like my colours, that's what I like to do, but I do black and grey as well.
Yeah.
So, tribal, Maori sort of stuff. Mandalas I don't overly enjoy. I do them sometimes as a part of a design, but it's not my overly enjoyable point in tattooing, so I try to avoid. Lettering, I don't like doing it. It stresses the hell out of me, so I won't do it neither. If it's one word, it's fine, but if it's like lyrics or something, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I believe somebody else can do a better job, of it, so I'll just recommend.
You probably start self-doubting, like, is that really how you spell that word? I'm not
too sure now. that's another thing. Spelling is another thing. I've not had an accident myself. I've had an accident on a pocket watch once. It was just like quite a boring customer. And I was just like so bored with the design, doing it, working for another shop when I didn't have a say what we were tattooing. I just tattooed the numbers wrong. I've corrected them by the end of the tattoo, but it was just so boring. I've tattooed the numbers the wrong order or something, but I've like sorted it out towards the end of it.
You can get away with that. You can say it's an abstract clock.
I mean, we actually, you wouldn't believe how often we have to fix things on a tattoo. You have to do corrections on a tattoo basically as you go along, and I'd be surprised if somebody that works 5 days a week doesn't correct one tattoo a week themselves, even if often it won't be our fault, because you get people that are like, they will twitch or something, or they will turn around to grab their phone and you've got a needle stuck in the skin and the line will go further than it should,
Did I think I pissed you off once or twice during the collab tattoo you find it. I got it on film that one time because I accidentally was recording like this with a GoPro, and I think I got a bit too close, and then you sort of like moved up and nudged it, and then you looked at me.
Really? I don't know. I mean, it takes a lot to piss me off, to be honest, for a start.
You're probably just getting me a bit.
I just sometimes get this like serious face when I concentrate, when I know I'm a little bit like.
Especially when you got you plugged in as well.
And so that's. Craig spotted a good thing. He said, whenever you're pissed off, Moni, your top lip disappears, and that is a sign.
Really?
So if I get angry, my lip disappears because I just go like, I don't know, I can't even do it, but it's basically a sign that you pissed Moni off. My lip disappears. Craig experienced it once when I had a bad day to start with when I came to the shop, and we've got the coded door, so you put the code in. He was holding the door from behind. And he kept saying it all the time, and he was holding the door and I couldn't get in, and then he let go and he was laughing. And he was laughing when he opened the door, and I just looked at him and I said, "Not today, Craig," and he just went, "I'll make you a coffee." So yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get me out of a happy mood. But it does happen. I remember I've seen the post on Facebook actually, because we've done the Zoom calls on a group as well.
Oh my god, yeah.
So we were doing that while we were in the lockdown. I remember because I was in my art room being all creative, and it was lovely and sunny, and we had a proper summer. That was a good thing about lockdown. For once we had a proper summer in Britain.
God, I forgot about that.
Have ya?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because that was like when I was in my bedroom and I was like had the camera set up there and everything, and it was like trying to do Zoom calls with like tattoo artists and stuff. Yeah. That was fun. That was.
Yeah, it was really good fun. I think that's when we had cool like chats and talks about things and how it was affecting everybody, how everybody was keeping busy.
Yeah.
And it was quite good for the mind as well to see some faces, because obviously we got isolated so much for such a long time, and I think our industry is quite sociable.
Yeah.
If you like, because we're doing all the shows, you get to meet people and then not seeing anybody.
Yeah.
For so long, it could have been quite lonely. I mean, especially for people that were single as well. I think when you're with a partner and you live with somebody, and you have an animal as well, that's a lot easier. But when you're on your own and you haven't got a person to talk to and you haven't got any animals.
Yeah, digital can only do so much.
Yeah, that's it. But it was good. I enjoyed it. It's come up actually on my timeline the other day.
I was going to ask you as well. We know a little bit of like how you started, like, the couple of studios you was at and stuff like that. But like, was you born and brought up in Poland, or was you born and brought up in the UK?
No, I was born and brought up in Poland. I moved here when I was 20.
You moved here when you was 20?
Yeah.
So like, how did you sort of get into tattooing and artwork when you were growing up as a teenager, or? Yeah.
I mean, I've always been an artsy person, artsy-fartsy as they say it. So I've always been drawing and painting and that all my life since I remember. I used to steal toilet roll and paint on it. And then I used to paint the whole house. So my mum had quite a difficult job of cleaning up after me.
So you know what's coming with winter then?
Yeah, I'm expecting. I bought washable paint. Come on,
There
you
you
live
go.
and learn. But yeah, so that was the things that sort of always been part of my life, art. When it comes to painting, design, and that, I've done interior design studium, like a sort of short-term study. Afterwards, while I was apprentice at the tattoo shop in Poland, when I moved here, I stopped tattooing for a good 8 months or 9 months because I was learning the language. I was working for the agencies, taking all sorts of jobs and that. So it was a little bit of a sort of first climatize, learn the language and that, and then I can get back to it. The shop where I used to work in Poland, I used to do piercing, and I was learning to tattoo there as well. It's got sold on, and I wasn't needed no more, so I was just basically let go overnight, and that was shortly before I moved here. So I was like, wow, I might as well move country. So off I went.
So why the UK then? What was the pull for it?
Right, so it's quite bizarre because, like, I don't know if you're aware, I used to do well, I'd like to get back to it now, but I used to do stunt riding, motorbike stunt riding. Yeah,
we spoke about this before.
Yeah,
as well.
so I was quite crazy on my bikes for years, and I knew this guy, and he was like, "Oh, I'm moving to England if you want to go and stunt, because you can stunt for a lot longer periods of time here than you would in Poland. Obviously, Poland in the summer it's brilliant, but spring and autumn can be very temperamental. In winter, there is no chance you'll ride in a winter, which here you still can." You probably, if we get 3-4 days of snow here, that's about it. And I remember first year when I moved here, we moved sort of end of September or middle of September, something like that, because I remember my birthday was shortly after. And I remember riding all the way till summer came. There was no break, which in Poland it would have been like sort of October, middle end, and that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
And you're done till April or May because it's too cold or too wet or it's a lot worse, so you wouldn't put up with the weather as well as you would here. So that was the reason, really, because I didn't really care much what country it was. I just wanted to explore. I always liked travelling. I travelled quite a bit of Poland before, and I've been to the States as well. And the States was the country where I wanted to go. I wanted to go that way, that side of the planet. But I was struggling with the visa and planning, like working permission. So
because a lot of the time you need to get to America, sort of thing, you need to have like something lined up, don't you?
Yeah. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
So I've got through the like health checks, and I've actually got the permit itself. I've got like a sort of working learning visa approved. All I needed was the job offer. So it was quite bad on the interviews, really, because I only had a couple, but I couldn't speak barely any language. But the idea of this program I wanted to participate in is that you go and learn the language, so it was understandable. But I didn't get anything serious, and then I moved here, and like a week after I got accepted, but I was like, oh, I'm just gonna cancel it because obviously I moved here. I've got my bike here.
Yeah.
But I sort of moved and stayed, and it's been almost 12 years now. So
how often do you go back to Poland? Because obviously, like, all of your family is still presumably there.
Well, not really. My brother lives here, and
Okay.
he lived here for good 10 years, so he's only like 3 hours away. I don't see him often, to be honest, because he's always working. We always work in different times, so I don't really see him that often, to be honest with you. My mom's still in Poland, but she comes over. I used to go over quite a lot, but then over the years, less and less, because for example, if I had a choice of going back to my mom's for 10 days or going to Spain or Italy or somewhere, I'd rather see the world. So because I talk to my mom quite frequently, and I'd go to Poland for shorter trips. Still quite often, but a lot shorter periods of time as I used to. And now I've not been for a very long time, and I'm supposed to go in 4 weeks' time, but that all depends whether winter's passport's going to arrive or not. So we're waiting.
Oh yeah, little baby needs passport, don't you?
That's it. So we're waiting on some paperwork, and we'll see whether we can go or not. But I'd probably go once or twice a year if that nowadays. And I used to go 4 or 5, so it's changed.
How's the Polish tattoo scene compared to the UK?
Insane. It's there is good things and bad things about it. I think you've got quite a lot of there's loads of good artists. The level is really high. You have to be really good to be making it. But then there is still quite a lot of bad tattoos, if you like. They just tattoo to make a few quid, and they're not quality nowhere near where they should be.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm seeing now, I've been to a couple of Polish shows just before COVID, and I think what I don't like about it is this kind of, maybe you'd call it influencer era.
Yeah.
When it's very important how you dress, how many followers you've got, who you hang out with.
Right.
So it's a lot of things.
It's a bit cliquey.
Yeah, a bit cliquey, and a lot of things is for show, I believe.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is based like massively on social media activity and that. And I don't think that's something I'd like to do or participate in, because you see some of these people and you see them online, and you sort of get, you try not to be judgy, but obviously if you start seeing posts and behaviours and things about certain person online, you sort of build your opinion based on what they share and what they post. You sort of get an idea who the person might be, and then you see them in real life, and it's like...
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And it can go two ways. The person might be really nice.
So the Polish tattoo scene is a bit more kind of focused on the aesthetics.
I think so, yeah. There is a lot of good artists, and I think they still are quite high percentage of the industry, but a lot of newer people is basically like, you know, they come in and they like do a few TikTok videos, get a few followers, and they think they're better than everybody else. Yeah. Which is something I just hate. Yeah. I just don't like people that are like, I'm better than you. When the ego overtakes, you know, everything else. Yeah. And at the end of the day, they might not necessarily be that good. So I always said to myself, I will never let like ego rule my life, because I hated that about industry from the start. Yeah. A few shows I went to, and like people would look at me and just like, you know, you see good artists, you like massive inspiration for you, know, you come up to them, you want to have a chat, and just literally piss on you. And like not even look at you, turn their head like you're nobody. And I said I'm never ever gonna become this person. So I always try to, you know, stay humble, be good, you know, chat to other artists, lift everybody else up. And that's happening a lot with the younger artists that haven't even built a name for themselves. Yeah. I think that's something I don't like, but unfortunately that happens as well with everything progressing, technology and influence being a kind of a job nowadays. Yeah. Like
it's the cruel but kind thing about being in this day and age, isn't it? It's like you can get real genuine people, but then you can get a lot of fake people. Yeah, and it's that's something I don't like, and and that's a lot of that in our industry, unfortunately, as well. You do get a lot of fake people that say to you know, you're kind of friends, but as soon as you turn around, you get just stop. Yeah,
so.
I mean, the thing is though, being a tattoo artist from the outside looking in, it looks like a proper rock star lifestyle. Like you get to tattoo people for a living. You make a fairly good income from it if you do well. You've got a good, you know, you work your own hours. It's like a cool looking job. It's a cool looking industry. But if you go into it just wanting that lifestyle and you're not really passionate about the art, that's where people seem to fall short a little bit. Yeah. You know, they've got a big massive watch, they've got all the chains on and everything, and they just want the look rather than the actual passion of being an artist. Yeah,
I think you're very right. I really agree with it. There is a lot of this sort of, like you say, big watch kind of on the wrist thing, and
there's nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with it.
But at the same time, you do see a lot of people that just like to see. They want people to look at them and go, God, he's got a lot of flash. He must be doing really well in life. Nice car and. Yeah. I just don't like it. I mean, like I'm a very simple person. I mean, I wear sliders and socks. You know me. I'm not a fashionable person. Sliders, socks, joggers, and a nice beanie.
Yeah, like a proper foreigner in another country. So I'm just a very simple person. I'm not a flash person. I do like my job. I enjoy it. I love it. It's a look good comes from it. I don't see it as, I don't see personally bad things from it coming to myself. I always find it humble, and it keeps me creative, makes me feel good. But like I say, there is a lot of points now when you sort of. There is some people in situations you'd rather not, mix with. Yeah. That's unfortunate, but that's any industry really. You get good and bad apples. So.
Yeah, of course. It goes with everything, doesn't it?
That's it. Can't be perfect, can it? That's another thing I don't get. This is this new trend, and I hate it. I mean, I've done a video. I do videos for TikTok just because I feel like I have to. Because Instagram has been that funny with our accounts. Once you get a little bit of a following, they proper restrict you, and it's really hard to get
the
out.
algorithm jumps around a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's changing so much. So one thing starts working, and then you have to adjust again. And like at the end of the day, like we busy people. We've got a lot of work to be done. You sort of tattoo most of the day, then you go home, then you do your designs, you do your bookings, you talk to people. Meanwhile, you find some time for family and this and that, and all of a sudden you have to join another social media platform just because it's how it is.
Yeah.
So, and then you have to learn all these things, and all of a sudden you find yourself learning about algorithms and social media. You spend a lot more time doing that than the actual artwork itself, which I think is wrong, but that's the era we live in. But with TikTok, I'm not a fan of it, because it's like a black hole of the internet. It just swallows you. So you start watching something.
Oh God, yeah.
And you lose hours.
Yeah.
But then the new trend I see as well in tattoo industry is just a lot of people going and doing really weird poses and faces, and it just kind of one of them things that is like, or whatever, just, and then they put a tattoo together, film a tattoo to work.
Yeah,
that's cool. But I just don't get the whole thing of recording yourself and going. I just don't get it. I won't do it. I just won't do it. I'd rather, I don't know, go and work supermarket. Come on. I just won't do it.
One that you did when you had Craig in the shot and he didn't even realise, that was fun.
Yeah, I thought. see, that's the thing I'd do. And that's the like something a little bit like, it was so funny as well, because obviously you can tell from the video I haven't got a clue how to use it. So there's a few things that I just like record and I don't know where to cut and TikTok put it together for me, so I've done half the job, but I wouldn't do any of them. Like I say, I find it a little bit embarrassing. Like, I'd be embarrassed to do that, so it's not for me. Maybe for some other people, but not for me. More natural, something like we did, yeah. Or what I quite enjoyed, there was I've seen it on, I think, Lad Bible recently, and there was a shop, quite a big shop, I think somewhere in the States, and they were asking the artist a few questions. So, for example, it'd be like, what's the customer that gives you a red flag? Or something, and then they say, like, if the person starts a chat with how much. So that's the person you don't want to talk to, because obviously if they haven't got basic manners, hi, hello, you don't want to talk to them. I'm like that anyway. But they were asking, like, what's the red flag about a tattooist? What's the red flag about tattoo apprentice and this and that? And that was actually quite a good video to watch. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And that's what I enjoy watching. That's, I think, the good side of TikTok. But yeah, the bad thing, I don't like the trends and all that sort of stuff. I just wouldn't do it.
If ever you get big on TikTok because of doing that, I've got to call you out on it.
Yeah, no.
She didn't like this to start with, and now look, TikTok has changed her.
Well, rest your case, never going to happen.
You should try and get Craig doing some of that. I reckon he'd love it. He loves his pictures. He loves it. I remember when he had his, he had some sort of like new thing out or whatever, and he was doing loads of like every day a new
tattoo, but his own aftercare. Oh my God, he's gonna kill us for this, because I say to him every day in the shop, I pull him out and I said, "Do you know this guy, Craig James? You don't know him. Do you know he's got his own tattoo aftercare?" Yeah. And he's just like taking a piss out of him every single day about this. And I was like, "You had your dodgy hat as well." He's like this black cap thing for the pictures, and I said, "You look really dodgy." And I said, "What do you mean I look dodgy?" I said, "I don't know, you just don't wear a hat normally, so you look really dodgy." but yeah, I call him out on it every day, like it's quite fun.
Well, Craig, if you're watching this, big love, you can come here one day.
Yeah, the guy with his own tattoo aftercare. Yeah. Craig James.
We should do it.
He's gonna hate me for this.
I've got another question to ask you, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, but you never actually kind of said any more about it. Are you going to be doing any more stunts and biking and stuff in the future? The only thing I see you post now is like the memories of the videos that you've posted recently. Yeah,
so there's two things to this to answer, right? So the thing we struggle with, like, I'd love to get back into it. I still got my bikes. My fella still got his bikes. Yeah. And we'd love to do it more often. What we're struggling with is the space to practice. We need basically like an empty industrial estate or something to practice away from the houses. Yeah. As soon as we practice within area where people live, they complain about the noise, which is understandable. Yeah. A lot of places like that are empty industrial parks or estates whatsoever, they gated off nowadays because of the thefts going on and that. Yeah. So we used to be able to stunt in a council car park near us. It was 10 minutes away from us after work. pop the bikes in the van, go down there,
Yeah.
ride, nice little half an hour. We've lost that, and we've lost another spot that was 30 minutes away. So currently we haven't got anywhere to ride.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. So you can't do it on the streets because it's like just dangerous and illegal and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you can't do it in like a sort of open space. You have to be careful where you ride. So we haven't got a place to practice. And the second thing is it's time a little bit sort of, which we definitely would make some more time. Weekends would be good, Sundays. We used to go on Sundays and meet friends and that. I'm hoping there is an event going on middle of August in Santa Pod Raceway, probably heard of.
Yeah.
So usually we used to have competition going on then. There'd be some sort of other event like a dragster race or whatever when they race on quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
Stunt riding would be at the same time. And it's back on. So I've been putting feels towards my fella and he's like, oh no, we can't go because we haven't been riding for ages. You go out, you go crazy, you break your arm, you know how it goes, Moni. And I'm like, yeah, but we haven't been out for so long, it'd be nice to go. So
I'll take the broken arm, let's do it.
yeah, well, you're just going to be a little bit careful. Like, I can't be. I'm obviously female, a bit more sensible, but my fella just goes crazy.
Yeah.
So he's a bit worried that if he goes and breaks his arm, then he can't work, and it's just like...
Oh, yeah.
So you've got this thing back of your head. I mean, when you're younger, you know yourself, when you're a youngster, 20-year-old, whatsoever, you just go out and do whatever. Like, there's no tomorrow. You don't care.
I'll take the consequences.
Yeah. You just don't care. You just carry on, do whatever, and the life goes on. But when you're a little bit older, you start thinking more about, what if?
Yeah.
What if you fall and you break your arm, or if Park squashes you and you can't go to work, or if you hurt yourself really bad and this and that, there's consequences. And I think that comes with the age.
Well,
and
the thing you sorry to interrupt, but you say about like your fella, like if he did something wrong, like at work, but like if you did anything, you're right-handed, aren't you?
Left-handed.
Left-handed. Like if anything happened to your left arm, you can't tattoo, so you're in that problem as well, then, really. Aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, both me and my fella, we sort of been working with quite injured limbs, if you like. So I've had cuts and like dislocated fingers and toes and that, and we both still sort of carry. I remember there was one incident once I got attacked by a dog and it bit 3 of my fingers. It cut me open, literally the skin on my hand, and then I was working. They were all stapled to, secured with like tongue depressors.
Really?
So I had 3 fingers like that, so I couldn't bend these 2.
God.
And I was like tattooing with my last 2.
You still tattooed with it?
I was still tattooing, yeah. I took a couple of
God.
days of work, but I had to go back because I felt bad for people, like cancelling on people, because obviously they wait a few months for their appointment, and it's really bad to cancel on them last minute. So I was sort of tattooing like this, like, just quite bad, but you just go back and carry on and deal with it, really.
What's like the worst injury you've had from doing the stunts and stuff?
Right, so it wouldn't be the stunts itself. I used to do motocross before.
Yeah.
So I had broken ligaments all the way around my knee, so I basically made my knee fairly unstable. It was a bit sort of jelly-like, and I couldn't feel my legs for the first 3 days after the accident, actually, because I was catapulted through the bars. I landed on my knees, and that's what caused me ligaments to snap. But I couldn't walk I was in the hospital for 8 days.
8 days in the hospital?
Yeah. So I sort of started to feel my legs again about 4 days. I was gonna go. They were gonna put me through a couple of surgeries to stitch my ligaments, but they trialed the casts first. So I had a couple of casts for I think total of 8 weeks.
Yeah.
From my butt to literally my toes.
Yeah.
And that sort of seemed to sorted back then, but I do feel it now as well when the weather's changing and this and that. I still can feel pain in my knee, so it's never been right since then. So that was the worst. Stunt riding itself, I just had like grazes and bruises and that's quite normal.
Yeah.
So you just carry on. But it's a lot safer than it looks, kinda.
It looks crazy.
It looks crazy, yes, but it's not as dangerous as it looks. Motocross is hell of a lot more dangerous sport than stunt riding. Like in motocross, you go out every weekend, you pretty much 50-50, you're breaking your bones or not. So it is quite a different story, motocross. That's why I don't do it no more.
So it's quite a risky but fun hobby then.
Yeah, it's wicked. Like I love it. I'd love to have another motocross bike, but I can't. Yeah, I might will at some point, but just be a little bit more sensible. I don't know.
Which could you live? Well, which one couldn't you live without, the bikes or the artwork?
Oh, I don't know. I think I could live without both, but I wouldn't like to.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Like, I do enjoy my artwork, like tattoos. I love it, and I miss it, and I really missed it when I was on maternity. I haven't really done much, just because it was like sort of, feeding baby every 2 hours and looking after us. I haven't got time to do much of it to start with. I'm getting back into it now, but bikes I was riding till I was pretty much 7.5 months pregnant.
Really?
Yeah, and then
wow.
not stunt riding, just road. Street riding. But then I didn't fit in my clothes no more. I couldn't put my jacket on and that.
I bet you were a bit far away from the handlebars.
Yeah, I was just getting further and further away, like reclining myself backwards. So I stopped riding about 7.5 months in.
So technically that means that Winter's been riding bikes before she was even born.
Damn right. She's going to be a biker. She's
going to be a biker, tattoo
She's got
artist.
a bike already.
Has she?
Yeah, she's got a little motocross bike. But far into
Definitely a present for you more than her, I think.
Well, it's my old bike. I decided never to sell it because we had this dog Bodger before, and she absolutely loved it, and it was a little bit sentimental when we had to put her down. I was like, I'm never gonna get rid of this bike because it always reminds me of her, because she wouldn't let me ride it if she couldn't get on it. So I used to wheelie with that dog on it.
Yeah.
And like there's a couple of pictures on my Facebook, I think, when I wheelied the bike, and she's just sitting there with her arms through the bars. And just like this big smile on her face, she loved it, and I think that's why I decided never to sell it.
Yeah.
I was like, even if it's just standing in my living room, I don't mind, and I kept it, and now we sort of decided we're gonna get it all nice and ready for her when she can ride it.
To be fair, Winter, Moni, thank you very much for being the first guest on Inkcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Are we gonna wave? Are we gonna wave to the camera?
You gotta wave goodbye on the camera. Look over there.